What's up, Internet Land? This is Zachimus Prime, aka Zachimus Prime, here with another Transformers Masterpiece review. Today, the figure that we're going to be reviewing is the Masterpiece Beast Wars Megatron. And first of all, I want to point out that I've got him. He does have this unarmored mode here, and I've got it started off in that mode because instead of having, watch me take the armor off and then put it back on, I figured I'd just start with it off and then put it on. So, yeah, there's apparently a scene in the show, and full disclaimer, by the way, I have not seen Beast Wars. I know all about it. It came out when I was a kid. I used to have some of the toys, but I didn't really like them when I was young, because I'm like, robots should be robots, they shouldn't be animals. And then when I eventually got around to trying to watch the show, I was like 2 years ago, and just the show was just so dated and campy, and I couldn't get into it. I gave it my 3-episode challenge and didn't get into it, so I haven't actually seen all of it. But I mean, I know a lot about it because I know about it mimetically, of course. So apparently, there's a scene where Megatron is just chilling at home with his armor off. I think that's also the scene where he takes and uses this toothbrush thing here. If I can fit this in his palm. And cleans his dino mode teeth like this. So, that's fun. But yeah, that just tabs into his hand, which is like a simple SP style tab. And you can do that. Brush the top teeth. Brush the bottom teeth. Don't forget to get the tongue. That's where a lot of the bacteria in your mouth likes to hide. Yeah. Pull that off. Alright, well, look at that. We're only like 2 minutes in, and there's already like one accessory down. So, let me get him. Let me just show him off real quick from the front and the back. When you take all of his kibble off, he makes for a really clean looking figure. Strangely enough. Maybe one of these times I should try transforming him without the armor on, just to see what he looks like in what would be his dino mode. I don't know. But anyhow, so to put that back on, you're going to want to straighten out his arms. The shoulders will go on like this from the front, and then they'll turn and then clip like that. They won't just go straight on because these angled sections here will, prevent that from going on like that. They'll also prevent them from coming off, of course. For the tail, there's just this tab right here, and it'll slot into, you can see it really well actually. It slots right into that. These are going to attach just using this little peg. It's going to go into this slot here, and then this tab, it's going to tab into there. Like so. Do that again for the other side. Whoops, bumped my camera. I'm sure you noticed that I bumped my camera, because then everything like, it's earthquake. And then, so of course he's got to have the kibble so he can transform. I don't think that this is a bad display option to just display it without that folded up backpack kibble stuff. But technically, you're supposed to take these and they will just slot into these little tabs here, like so, and like so. And once these are back there, there's a little tab in the shadows. There's a little tab right here. These will just tab together. So there he is, all megged up in his robot mode, and I mean, he looks pretty good. Like I said, I've never been a huge fan of Beast Wars. I've only seen a few episodes in my life, but I mean, I've seen it around. I know what the Beast Wars Megatron is supposed to look like. I had a Beast Wars Megatron at one point. I mean, it was Transmetal's Megatron, which, I mean, personally, I was probably not really even the same thing, but anyhow, so here he is. Lots of really, really, really good surface detail on here, and like pretty much every panel of his dyno mode is painted to some degree. It just looks really good. There are some gimmicks that I'm not going to be going over today. Most notably the stand. I don't have the stand on me. That is with the Beast Wars Dinobot. So he comes with accessories so that you can use him in conjunction with the stand that came with Dinobot, because they figure if you're going to buy Megatron, you probably already bought Dinobot. So they just allow you to use that stand. So I guess what that really means is that if you have both figures, as Takara supposes you will, you're going to have to decide who you want to have on the stand, because there's now a shortage of stands. But I'm not going to be going over those because I don't have the stand with me. Also, there's lights in his face that I'm not doing because batteries, yeah. And there's also this speaker system in here, and a button here that you will do Japanese voices, Japanese only voices, which is kind of a bummer. I kind of wish that they had done like American voices. But I mean, I do recognize that, yeah, this is a Japanese toy designed for a Japanese market and whatnot. So I'm sure some helpful third-party company will make an option for that. But yeah, so let's get into other accessories that he's got. You can take his face, kind of tilt his head back, see if you can get your thumb underneath there. Yeah, so you push that up. Which, by the way, this is where the battery cover is for his head. There's a single screw here. You unscrew that, and then it'll take two LR44 batteries, which are not included. So you just kind of slide this up, and then you can slide in. There's his face. And he's got this cheeky shit-eating grin. And then he also has an angry face, looking like a arg angry. But personally, I like this one, just the default head. He also comes with this hunting rifle. And I mean, I guess I'm not sure why you really need a hunting rifle when your entire arm is a weapon. But yeah. And this tabs in just like the toothbrush did. Just fits into that little slot. And then, well, I should probably curl his fingers up a little bit first. And the only thing that's really kind of obnoxious about this is that the whole tail assembly gets in the way of that rifle. But yeah, so there it is in his hand. It just still doesn't seem like it really wants to fit super securely, but I mean, as long as you're not like poking it like this, it's probably not a problem. And then last but not least, we got this little accessory here, and if you open up his dino face, it'll fit right into here. So he can be like firing his laser. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Alrighty. So that's kind of cool looking. Yeah. This is it's all smooth on one side and it's hollow all on this side. This is just molded out of a single piece of plastic. But, you know, depending on how you angle it and how you display it, it's probably not even going to be that big of an issue. But let's do some posability. So up his head is on a ball joint. So it'll rotate around, look down that far, look up that far, rotate all the way about, if that's what you need. His left arm will go all the way around. He's got a click right here at the shoulder that goes out that far. He also has a joint here that takes it up farther. But as you can see, it's not the tightest of joints. It is kind of cool that this little bit like kind of moves out of the way. It would be cooler if that stayed there. He has a dedicated butterfly joint. That's kind of cool. So you can move it across. You could probably have him like folding his arms or whatnot. If his, you know, entire arm wasn't like weird. This one's actually kind of weird too. But he does have a joint here. I keep on thinking that that's got to be actually a tail joint. Except that it only bends one way. Maybe that's specifically so that he can hold that hunting rifle better. I don't know. He's got a weird joint on his elbow. His elbow proper is a single joint, but it gets a very, very deep pull. He's got wrist rotation here and a hinge on his wrist. He's got a thumb joint, which has got two joints on it, one at the base, one in the mid. Grow it up, stick it out. Index finger, same thing, one at the base, one in the middle, and then the last two fingers are combined together into one. And they have a joint at the base and a joint in the mid, so he can point. He's got really like gangly looking fingers, but he can do the point, or he can just like hold his hand around. In terms of articulation, his hand is actually the same as the Masterpiece movie Bumblebee. For his other arm, again, he's got the click joint, the bicep rotation. He's got this joint here, which does not hold it up, as we noticed earlier. Same butterfly joint here. His wrist does not, or his elbow does not bend as much, unless you include the amount it bends backwards. Bends that much there. He does have a rotation here. And then he's got a rotation here. This is more for Dino, I think. Then, of course, the jaw is open and close on that. Go away, eye hole. Whoops. Moving down to his waist rotates more or less freely. He's got these parts, like, of course, this shoulder doesn't like to be held up by that joint. Some of these parts kind of feel like, you know, like they're going to collide together and run into each other. I'd be careful about that because There's a lot of paint on this figure. It's, you know, subtle, like tempo painting, but yeah. He also has a dedicated ab crunch on a swivel, or on a, whatchamacallit, the clicky thing. And that's pretty cool. His leg will go this far forward. Let me move his arm out. This far backwards. And with this part on, he only gets like 40% of a Van Damme. If you take this part off, assuming you have such a pressing need to give him a full Van Damme, he'll do 120% Van Damme without that on his leg. He does have a swivel up here at the hip, and he also has a swivel down here at the knee. Knee bends about 90 degrees. He's got some articulation at his ankle. Oops. Ah, my shin. Ankle clicks forwards, 2 clicks. Gets a bit of rotation on it. This is just a toe rotation here. The heel actually does not move in conjunction with the leg. And then all 3 of his toes move. So he is a decently articulated figure, which is not bad. In terms of posability and whatnot, he gets pretty good shelf presence. He's a big figure. I don't have any other Beast Wars Masterpiece figures to compare him with, but I can compare him to a Voyager class Optimus Prime. So that's not how the scale worked out in the show. I think somebody did the math and figured that Megatron is actually about the size of an ostrich. Because the Beast Wars was all about, like, oh, they had to like shrink down in size to conserve energon or something like that. But anyhow, let's get him transformed up. So first thing we want to do is I'm going to take this hand here, fold that in like that, rotate it around so that his palm is facing in, and we're going to angle this inside the tail. And this part's going to fold down like that. There's actually a double hinge here. This is one of those things where I feel like every time I do it wrong. Like, that is definitely not seating the way it did last time I transformed this figure. It's just super weird. But that is as deep as it seats. Alright. And these are going to tab in to there. For this arm here, we're going to bend it as part of the bicep, like that. And this is going to come around like this. And then we're going to not worry about that for a bit. So this is all just a bunch of stuff back here. We're going to kind of expand these out a little bit. And then there is, let me back this up. Let me give myself a little bit more space. Let me back up my light so that we can see a little bit better. So there's this double hinge right here. And we're going to just pull that up like that. That's going to get this started on this path. Flip that panel out. And again with the other side, there's a double hinge. Then flip this panel out. And all the stuff you'll see kind of like tabs together. There's little tabs here, little tabs here. And then we're going to take and we're going to pull on this, pull it back away from the back. And this whole thing is going to slide out like that. And we're going to tilt his chest forward. Jeez, there's just no good way to hold this, is there? We're going to tilt that chest forward, and then we're going to take this piece here. We're going to fold it out and fold it out. One thing I got to point out, when you are putting this back into his robot mode, this isn't just a single hinge, that is a double hinge. And if you turn it at the top part of that hinge, it will not close. You have to, on this double hinge here, you have to turn it at this bottom hinge. To the point where I'm not even sure why they have a double hinge here. Because it's only by turning it at the bottom, at this secondary hinge, this one right down here. That's the only way you're going to get that to close. So I don't know why they made that a double hinge. It needed to be a single hinge. So with this open, we're going to take this. If this hasn't been clipped already, you just kind of mildly unclip that, put that in. We're going to take this section here and we're going to collapse it down. And it's going to click like that. And then we're going to take and rotate this all like so. Jeez, I feel like we're halfway there already. Like, despite like all of the like huge panels and whatnot, this figure is really not difficult to transform. I was really nervous. So I'm borrowing this from my friend Matt. You guys may know him. He's the guy who used to run Titan One Toys. I borrowed this from him, and I didn't touch it for the longest time because I've heard horror stories about things breaking down here at the crotch. And actually, I should probably take a quick aside and talk about this because I've got like 5 minutes before I need to re-click my video. So what I think has been going on with this, you'll notice that there's a screw right here, which structurally compromises this area to a degree. But most importantly, you'll notice, and let's get close up, you'll see these dark seams in here. And that's from, so when the plastic comes in, it's on a gate system. Anybody who's built like a Gundam model or whatnot knows all about gates and sprues and whatnot. So this is connected to a sprue via these gates. And so the plastic comes in and it fills in this cavity in the mold. And where the two flows come together, you get this right here. This is just a little line. And this is not a crack. This is not a seam. This is not any kind of a break in it. But that can and potentially is a structural defect. And if this flow, like right on this one, it meets like right here underneath his legs. But if those two flows of plastic met like right up here, like maybe along this line here, then that's a structural point, and when you're moving this around, it might break. In fact, looking at this, it seems that there is a flow of plastic right here by this other screw hole, and that could potentially be an issue. I don't know. It's just the sort of thing that I would be super careful with. And it just strikes me that, I mean, they've got to know how plastic flows. There's got to be a way to compensate for that sort of thing, you know? So here on this butt flap, we're going to take these and fold these together. That's going to allow us to take these, and there's a tab and a tab inside on his waist section. We're going to tab those in to those spots there. Just gonna rotate his legs, kind of get this out of the way. All right, this is the fun part here. So we're gonna straighten out this panel here and this panel here, because they definitely need to be straightened out, and they're a pain in the butt to straighten out once you already are trying to get everything together. We're gonna just squeeze these together so that we can get this tab to kind of go underneath the neck. There's a little tab here, like right here. Those come in really easily, but we just want to get all this underneath the neck there. Kind of get that in place. So once it's in place, I'm going to hold it just for the time being. Now we're going to open up this panel here. There's two hinges here. We're going to open that till these tabs kind of align. And then we're going to be able to turn this like that. And then turn this like that. And this is another one that you really want to try and line up the tabs before you get the panel into place. Because once these panels start fitting into each other, like you start running out of working room. Alrighty. And now for the other side. We're going to do a lot of the same stuff. So open this up till those things align. Bring this around. Bring those up. And just get everything in place. And now here's the part that really gets tricky. This is the last few panels that come into play. So basically how this works, you have a tab here and a tab here, and then you've got this little clip inside here, but you also have this little flange all the way along these panels. And those flanges are the part that bothers me most about this particular step. They hate me. They probably hate you. I'm sure they hate pretty much everyone on this freaking planet. When it came out of the box, it was in Dyna mode, and these work together pretty well, so it's got to be possible. But each time I transform it, I never seem to get those flanges to fit together properly. Like even now, that's not right. I feel like it's seating, but like not actually. I know that doesn't make any sense. Holy crap, I think I did it. Of course, now I've undid all of these other tabs that I really didn't want to undo. Let's see if his neck tabs will keep these other tabs in place. Ta-da! Alrighty. Alright. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on these legs a bit. We're going to take this at the knee. We're going to rotate this around. Bend the knee a bunch. Bring this up. This part here is going to unpeg and rotate around like that. You're going to want to take this little gun part here, flip that around, bring this up, flip this out. And this, by the way, is your alignment check. Once these panels will line up, you know you've got the leg in the right place. Alright, and then on the other side, rotate, bend, flip this around, just open that, flip that in. Alrighty. We're going to flip in his heels. We're going to click this right here. And there he is in dyno mode. Oh yeah, we want to take his eyes and move his eyes to somewhere respectable looking. Alrighty. Yeah. There he is in dyno mode. And in dyno mode, this is actually fairly impressive. Except this panel doesn't want to tap together properly. There we go. If you've got all the panels in place properly, which I know I don't have it in place properly, but you actually can. It's actually not hard. It just takes a bunch of time. More time than I want to take in, you know, one of my real-time transformations. It's pretty seamless, actually. I mean, aside from the fact that it's got seams all over it, but like, it's not gappy. You know, he's got this little bit of robot mode leg showing in the back, but that's basically it in dyno mode. It's really quite impressive. And he stands up well too, which is not really something that I can say for the Beast Wars Dinobot. But yeah, he looks really good. So let's get into his articulation a bit. Let's start at the head here. Head will rotate here like that, look up and down, turn side to side. His jaw opens. It's like got this like there's a hinge up here, and then there's a hinge down here, and it all opens up, and you get even this like faux like membranous, you know, part here. That's just super cool. He has opposable tongue, which, I mean, honestly, how many Transformers can you say have opposable tongues? Not a whole lot. His arms will rotate around. They'll also go out. This is not a ball joint. This is actually like a little two-part universal joint. Whoops, that's on a mushroom peg, which it likes to rotate out. Of course, that can be fixed by mitigating this seam. There's usually a little seam on a mushroom peg, and if you get that cleared out properly, it won't do it. Same with the other arm here. These legs are not going to rotate at this joint at all, but they will, however, click a little bit at this knee joint. There's this little part back here that kind of shoots in when his leg bends, and it sticks out when his leg unbends, and that's cool. I like little spring-loaded details like that. That's a clever little piece of detailing. Again, his ankles have got the same amount of articulation as they did in robot mode, so you've got that pivot. Yeah, it works the same in this mode. Toes, pose, and whatnot. Coming back here, you have these alignment tabs here, like that kind of keep this in place, but you can still wiggle it around a little bit, and it'll move on that shoulder joint in there. And then you've got just a hinge right here. There are no accessories for the dinosaur mode. I think there might be a stand option for this one, but again, I don't have the stand. You can, however, take the same accessory, open up the mouth, and it plugs in the exact same way, in the exact same place as it did, so he can do his like Godzilla laser breath. So that's something that you can do if you want to. But yeah, he's a pretty cool figure. Personally speaking, and that, like I said again, I'm not a huge fan of Beast Wars. I never got into it. I'm not telling anybody that they shouldn't get into it or that I disapprove of their enthusiasm of it. I think whatever people like is great. But personally, I don't know that this is the sort of purchase that I would make. But I can tell you, I mean, I do know enough about it to know that if I was a fan of Beast Wars, then this would be just freaking amazing to me, because this is a very good rendition of a figure that honestly has never been done really well, because, you know, it shows like freaking like 20 years old. Shoot, is it 20 years already? Gosh, I'm old. Sorry, I'm having a little existential crisis on camera. Anyhow, I mean, they never really did this figure really well, and this is really, really well done. And so, if you're a fan of Beast Wars, I can recommend it. I hate to say this, but I might wait around to see if somebody is going to KO it at an agreeable price, because this is like $350, and that's probably more than I would spend for it, even if I was a huge fan of the character. But I don't know, man. Individual prices and or you know, opinions and wallets notwithstanding. But thanks everybody for watching. You guys are all awesome. I love each and every one of you. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. I actually just recently surpassed 500 subscribers, so that's not something that I ever expected that I would do. So that's kind of cool. I'm all power hungry now. I'm just like, yes, give me more subscribers. Yes. But I don't know. I mean, if you like it, subscribe. If not, then don't, because I'm not going to tell anybody, oh yeah, you should totally subscribe, because all I want is more subscribers. No, my goal is actually to make quality content for you guys to look at. Like, I think that I want to come by it all honestly, and not like start like huge advertising campaigns to subscribe to my channel like some people. I mean, I'm not naming names. Not that I really need to, because he's got like 100 million subscribers, like a significant fraction of the planet Earth is subscribed to some people's channels. But anyhow, thanks everybody for watching. You're all fantastic, and everybody be good and be good to each other. Catch you on the flip side. See ya.